Welcome to the Rooted Warriors, the podcast where the bonds of sisterhood are not just celebrated, but explored through laughter, tears, and everything in between. Join me and my two dearest friends as we dive deep into the roots of our own friendships, sharing stories and challenges. Whether you're looking for inspiration, advice, or just a good story, we're here to bring a piece of our sisterhood right into your life.
Hey there, my little chickpeas. Today on Rooted Warriors, we're breathing life in. It is a journey of self-discovery and the beautiful art of slowing it down. In a world that seems to spin faster every day, it is easy to get caught up in the whirlwind and miss out on the simple yet profound moments that truly mean the most and define our lives.
How are we doing, ladies?
Ooh.
We're doing good.
I am doing good. Are you doing good?
Yeah, it's been a rough week. It has not been a gentle week, but
No.
that's okay.
Is it the heat?
It's the heat. I'm going through it. It's just everything.
Name it. It is.
It is. So what about you, Gina? How's your week been?
You know, my week's been okay.
We're all having one of those
Same.
weeks. We're all having one of those
We're
weeks.
trying to stay positive here.
We are. We're going to be taught about some positivity here.
You know, I just got back from Tahoe.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so it was beautiful. It was lovely. It was quite
Baseball?
not baseball, golf. So it's celebrity golf there.
Love
so we
Had a tournament.
It was fun. We golfed on Saturday at Lake Tahoe golf course. Beautiful.
So beautiful.
Just so
Is
beautiful.
it?
It was a very, I think I would have never thought, but when you think about golf courses, you're just like, if you don't know anything about golf, then you're like, yeah, right? But when you start learning, like now I've learned a lot of things about myself and golf and like golf attire and golf shoes. Like you can't just go buy golf shoes. You really need to know what you need
Right.
and then you buy those.
Because it's
Yeah.
different on every course, right? And this is coming from someone that does almost
Yeah.
nothing about golf. So
I mean, like I'm super picky about my gloves. Like was I
Oh
not
my gosh.
are you saying you're a
hysterical
little bit of a
about
golf snob?
She was so funny. So
little?
we golfed on Monday, and I swear to God, every time we golf, Gina's got a new damn glove. And she's like, okay, so I think this one's gonna do
this
it.
is gonna do
This
it?
is
This
gonna
is
be
the
the glove.
winner.
And then she's
Right?
like, it's scrunching up. It's scrunching up. The glove is scrunching. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Because I go like barehanded. Because when I was
She does.
yeah, well, when I was a kid, I played softball, as we all know, and I would try to talk my stepdad and Richard into getting me a glove. He's like, oh, you don't need that. When you become
Yeah, roll it
professional,
up.
then you get that, And so I just kind of still have it in my head that, like I'm not going to be cocky. I'm not
Yeah.
going to wear the glove. But, Gina looks great in the glove that she has now. And she's all about, so I have a little bit of glove envy. I'm not
What
going to
kind of
lie.
glove that makes you
okay.
look
So
great
here's
in
the
it?
thing: is like a woman's glove. It has a gather right here, so
At the
it gathers.
wrist?
So when you're grabbing it, like by the end of my golf game, I have like red marks going up and down my hand right here, right?
So they're digging in.
It is,
kinda,
and then it's like
rubbing.
it's not a medium. It's not because it's a large. It's not because it's the size. It's the gather. This is what I've come to the conclusion. So one day
Wow.
Adam was like, "Here, just use my glove." Well, in his, it didn't have the gather right there.
Is it like
It was too
Elastic?
big.
It's a
Yeah,
look
it's
thing.
weird.
It's a look thing.
So I use his glove the whole entire time. It's too big for my hand, but I'm like, oh my God. Now I'm just kind of pulling because it's big, not pulling because it's hurting me. So we were on our way to Tahoe. We stopped at one of the golf places and I found this glove, a woman's glove that does not have the gather. It's
No.
just solid leather.
See, now that's going to play in my head. Like,
yes.
buy a glove, can't have a gather.
But here's another
Seriously.
thing is like for golf attire, right? Like in my pants, I need to make sure that they have pockets, right? And then pockets
Yes.
that close. Like I don't want my tees falling out. I want to make sure I have 2 balls in one pocket for the second ball I have to
See,
throw out.
things
You know
you
what
don't
I mean?
think about.
Yeah. So it's like all of these things that you have to think about. And so then like courses, right? So we play Jacktown a lot because we're so close to it and we're not members at Spring Creek.
Let's be honest.
We're not making that
Support
happen.
Rooted
Yeah.
Warriors so we could
No.
be members at Scree Creek.
No, I have my eyes on a different golf course, but so you kind of get to know what you like. In the beginning, I thought I liked par threes, but really, I want a par four and a par five. I want to be whacking my driver, not these little ones where we're like, okay, this one we're going to use our 9. Oh, I can use a
You're like,
pitching
give me that
wedge.
sucker. I want to whack it.
Yes,
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah, no.
I actually enjoyed the ones where I could just tee off too and not like,
Yeah.
watch how far you go. You know what I mean? I wanted to whack it as hard as I could
So
instead.
then you kind of get used to like all the different varieties of holes, and then it becomes an adventure, right? From one hole to the next. So I'm gonna say that Lake Tahoe Golf Course was
Really?
we played 18 holes, and I loved every single hole.
All
Really?
right.
Every single hole.
Good plug.
Now,
I love it.
if I was gonna plug somewhere, my Adam got to play at Edgewood
Wow.
on Sunday.
You said you
James.
loved Edgewood though.
Well, no, that it's a different world.
Oh, it
It's a
is.
whole different class. It's a whole different world. It is immaculate.
It's elite.
It is very elite. Like short of like people out there cutting the grass with scissors. I mean, that's how.
Hey, we used that as a punishment for my boys one
Yeah,
summer.
well,
So don't start.
Well,
I
now
mean,
they have a
workers,
job
I'm
at
just joking.
Edgewood.
It is. It
Noah
is.
and Cameron.
It's breathtaking there. And I was blessed enough to have Adam take me to breakfast there, and we got to hit balls and chip and putt. And so he kind of included me a little bit,
Aw.
had a couple, a drink, and then lunch, and then he went on his golfing merry
So is
way.
this legitly what golf should be about? Is the entire experience and not
It's
just the
100%.
holes?
Oh yeah.
Not
Oh.
just, I think it's camaraderie. It's being with people that you respect and have a great time with. I think it's a facet of things why people golf. It's
Social.
not just the game,
Right.
but it is a way of connecting, and
Kind of.
I've learned so much just from the game of golf, and I am obsessed. I love it.
Wow.
That's
It sounds like
awesome.
you had a great weekend.
Seriously.
I did have, he spoils me, and I'm very, very, very blessed.
Sister, you
So,
deserve to be spoiled.
yeah,
That's good.
he's a
Yeah.
good man to me. So
We like that.
yeah.
What about you,
Mhm.
Miss Andy?
Well, I say he better spoil you or he's going to. Oh, I'm sorry. You wanted to know about my week? Okay.
Yeah, this is
sorry.
getting a little intense over there.
Whoa. I'm just joking. My week was good. It was super productive. And we were just busy. Business has been really kind of chugging along.
Good.
So yeah,
Nice.
so
what I
I'm
like to hear.
excited about it. I'm excited about it. And
That's
we
a
got
good
all
thing.
these new things coming up. Even Mo's got some new projects coming up and we're all
Yep.
brainstorming about them. And
Yeah, we got some fun stuff coming around the
it's
bend.
going to be fun. We have
Yeah.
a lot of cool things going on. But anyway, you talked about human connection. So I'm thinking this is going somewhere.
Human connection, absolutely. I wanted to kind of go back through each episode, kind of leading up to this one, and it's really about slowing our life down and embracing, less stress, embracing moments in time. I think that we're all at an age, and even younger. I think younger, generations, my children, I hope that they can learn to slow it down a little bit and know that hustle, even though it's necessary sometimes, but in the quiet times, just, embrace the things that really matter. And so
Right.
I was thinking, where in this world
Yeah. Where can,
is there a lifestyle that embraces this?
that we can copy?
And yeah, like get copy paste right,
right.
into our life. And I was thinking about Italian culture.
Yeah.
And then I think about the word or expression, la dolce vita. And in Italian, it means my sweet life. And just, the whole culture, it just draws me in. So I thought that today we could talk about the Italian culture.
I like
and
that.
Me too. This is
slowing
perfect.
down and enjoying that sweet, sweet life that we do have.
Yeah.
So when I think about Italy, I think about food.
That's easy. That's easy,
real.
right?
Let's be
So I
real.
think about the cuisine and the culture that they have around their eating and feasting and their cuisine there.
How they savor
Right.
their meals, you know,
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
take
they
their
just
time.
When you guys think of Italy, what do you think?
they like make out with their food the way I like to.
Well,
They just
now
take
I'm thinking about hot
slow
Italian men
bites.
because she said make
Make
out.
out, make out.
So that wasn't where my mind was, but now it's there.
I always joke and say, like, when something's so good, you feel like you can make out with it. Like when chocolate is just so good, you just close your eyes and you just want to like absorb
I feel like
all
we're on
of
a
it.
sex show right now.
I know. Well, food is
Andy,
kind of
talk
like
to the
that,
listeners. All of a sudden, the
isn't
male
it?
listeners
I
care.
know.
Go.
But isn't food sort of like that? It's very sexy and
Yeah,
very
it's erotic.
Yum.
Let me get out my sexy voice when I talk about
I'm
food.
talking about savory meals. And the Italians taking their time.
And and it's really not even the Italians. It's just the Mediterranean like vibe, isn't it? Their
Yeah.
lifestyle.
It's that
is
whole
just,
blue zone, right?
Yeah, it's just like their whole way of living. They just slow things down and they make these human crazy connections. They say that you'll never see an Italian man or someone from the Mediterranean sitting in a corner drinking coffee by themselves. They would never do that. They would take that opportunity to connect with another human, and
Right.
they just they that human connection is such an important thing. But I think it's so cool that they say that's the reason. It's not just the diet, it's the way that they look at it.
It's the community, it's the family, it's gathering,
Yeah.
right? So it's not like, here in the United States, when we're inviting somebody over for dinner, say I invite you guys and your family over for dinner, the meal is already pretty much done, right?
Right.
And you eat,
There's a level of rushed too.
yeah, I think it's hi, bye. Oh, we have to stop here. We're having dinner
Gotta stay on
here.
schedule.
Let's
Yeah,
go, let's
whatever.
go. Right? We have like 3 different things we're doing tonight, and this is one of them. Where there, for me, I can imagine, a dinner looking like an entire family with their hands in the food,
Right.
making the food, preparing the food.
Right.
It makes it so much better.
It makes it
You
more
know.
intimate. Is that what you're trying to say? I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
And then also it goes, back to generational wisdom. What is
Absolutely.
being passed down from great grandmother to grandmother to
all the
mother
way from
to
like growing
daughter.
the food
Yeah.
to like
Yeah.
making the
Right.
pasta from scratch and
Right.
such. It's like
Right.
really deep generational wisdom that's
I mean,
built
can
there.
you imagine if we agreed like once a week this or once a month, this was something that you did with your family, and it would be something that maybe was passed down and then passed down, because then my daughter says, well, growing up, once a month, my family gathered and we prepared the food and then we
Traditions.
feasted
Yeah.
and then we, sat and we drank wine and we talked and, you know, loved on each other. You
I
know?
love that.
So it's an example, really, kind of, if you think about it, you expose your children so much of it, and then you would expect that eventually maybe it would stick and like they would take over and now spend that time with their family.
Maybe. I mean, how much of it is tradition or how much is not just culture, but it's tradition, because my grandmother did it and her mother did it and her mother's mother did it. And it's been passed down and passed down and passed down and passed down. Right.
Right.
Like I know, oh my God, I don't want to get this wrong, but just from the coffee shop, I know of a family, and the the mother, she only had sons.
Right.
And so it doesn't particularly like her daughter-in-law.
Oh, oops.
Hope she's not listening.
All right. Sorry, Mama. That's our
But
worst fear.
is teaching somebody that she's kind of met and nurtured and loved, teaching her Italian passed down traditional recipes.
Maybe it doesn't have to be with your
Because-
blood.
Right. Because, she was afraid that they're going to be lost, and they've been handed down and handed down and handed down. And now she doesn't have
Yeah.
anybody to hand these down to.
But that girl is willing to open up and now she wants to know. That's like a really cool, patient, present thing to want to learn someone else's traditions that
Mhm.
way and really take them seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Mo?
I mean, I agree. I think that every time that people come over for dinner, as a matter of fact, last night I just cooked for my parents, and Hannah and Ethan came over. I spent all day preparing everything, getting everything ready, and so that way, right when they walk in the door, it's ready to go. And I would have much more preferred to prepare that meal with my daughter or my son-in-law and enjoyed that process more. And I think it's something that I definitely want to incorporate back into my family because I did that with my mother-in-law and I loved it.
Yeah.
So is that like really going to?
Yeah, it's going to happen.
It is going to happen.
It's not even an
So
option.
like, hey, Hannah, I need you to like cut this lettuce up and these tomatoes and these onions. And hey, Ethan, I need you to.
Yeah. I'm going to have them
getting the
start coming
sauce.
like, 45 minutes or so before,
To help
maybe an
prep
hour
for
before
dinner.
to prep. I'll do like a lot
So
of the big
good.
stuff before. And because, they're working, they're busy.
Right.
But, for the little things to do together is nice.
How else do they learn the recipes and such?
Yeah. And Hannah's, already a phenomenal cook, but
Right. I've seen her charcuterie boards.
yeah, she makes some good stuff. But, I like how, the Italians and Mediterranean people, how it's not just about eating the food. It's about enjoying the flavors, the smell, and mainly the company. I think it's a great practice for us to have and not have our phone in our hand or be watching a movie or TV. Because I feel like no one in our society can just eat now. They have to be on a device.
Or do we eat at a kitchen table anymore?
No, never. I'm always standing up.
Yeah.
It's like a new thing for.
Or
It's not a new
eating
thing.
in
I've been
front of
doing
the
it.
TV.
Yeah, we eat in front of the TV, but we also
Yeah.
we used to make it a big deal eating at the table and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
it's such a huge part of it. When else do you check in during the day?
Yeah, it's the
Right.
time to check in or check out. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, we should be breaking bread together. That's the whole idea.
Right.
If you think about it, a lot of kids go to school and then when they come home, the parents but then they are at work and then they come home and then they got to get ready for dinner and then they have all these things going on. But when else do you get a chance to like really look at your kid in the eyes and in the face and see what's bothering them?
And I feel like
or
we're more
what's-
mindful about what we're eating when we're not sitting in front of a TV,
Agreed.
or with our phone in our hand looking at TikTok. And so, yeah. And, it looks like, a big part of their diet is the Mediterranean diet, correct?
It is. Yeah.
So did you know that there are 5 blue zones in the world? Did you know that?
I knew there were more than one, but I did not know how many. That's super interesting.
Japan
Yeah, the Okinawan diet is
Yep,
very similar
has
to the Mediterranean.
is a blue zone. Costa Rica.
Wow.
Yep. Greece.
Girl, take me there.
And everybody hold on to your pants. Ready for this one? Loma Linda, California is a blue zone.
Wait, what?
Yep.
I'm going right on.
Yep.
So I'm going to go look at it
Google
right
that.
now.
I have Sardinia on mine.
Yeah.
but-
No, Italy. So
Yeah.
Sardinia. The blue zone diet. So in those regions, they typically follow a plant-based, rich in vegetables, legumes, whole grains, nuts, fruits, and then just little bits of meat. But
Right.
more importantly, I think what they're doing is like eating off their land,
Well,
right?
and-
Seasonally.
And they're eating proper grains. Their grains
Right.
aren't tampered with or sprayed with glyphosate or have like
GMO.
yeah, and they're not they're not enriched and things like that. They're like legit whole grains.
Yeah.
Right.
So whole
Yeah.
being the key word here.
You're not
really.
seeing all those gluten issues that we're having here.
Yeah.
Whether you're
100%.
celiac or whether you're MTHFR, we had on the other episode where they were talking about vaccines. She was talking about MTHFR again with bad flour and enriched
Yeah.
flour.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. No other countries do that. Why
And
do
then
we
they,
do
they
it?
drink a lot of goat milk and they eat goat cheese.
Girl, they drink like 2 glasses of wine a day. They
Yeah,
drink.
but they never get drunk.
They don't.
They don't
Yes.
like to get drunk. It's actually frowned upon.
And their wine is legit. It's
Yeah.
not
most of the time
preservative filled.
they drink local wine.
Right.
And then you can drink in the streets in Italy. I don't know if you know that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Well,
it's not
if
an
it's
issue.
frowned upon, there's probably not a whole lot of drunk people there.
Yeah,
Well,
for
and
sure.
not only
So-
that, but I don't know about you, but after 2 is usually my limit, and 2 to me, I feel great after
Yeah.
2.
Well, I mean, the
I don't need
Italians
to go any
say
further.
the Italians say that water is bad, but wine makes you sing.
Mm.
Hey,
I
Something
love
to that.
sing.
let's hear it, girl. No, I'm just joking. I won't put you on the spot. But if you do want to sing, you can make your way out to Pizza Plus on every other Tuesday night. I'm just joking.
Plug.
You know, right?
Oh, my
I love
goodness.
cross promotion. Just kidding.
Um,
Anyway, yeah, I thought that was super cool. Like, what else did you learn about like the food that they're eating? Is it much different than what we're doing here?
I mean, again, I probably don't think it's being sprayed on.
So,
I
right?
nobody should probably eat the food in the United States, but there, I think it's their laws, and they're
Well,
probably much different than ours here.
and they just came out with glyphosate being like such a terrible thing. We shouldn't be using Roundup, and now they're putting it on all the bottles and stuff
Oh
like that.
my
But they're still
God.
selling it, and other countries completely have banned it. So it's
Right.
like, go figure,
Yeah.
really.
I mean, so I think they're probably eating seasonally. They're probably eating organic. They're probably eating what they grow. You know
Yeah,
what I
you're
mean?
right. They're
Eating
not
from
having
their
it shipped in from
gardens.
Mexico so they
Yeah.
can have oranges
Right.
in the wrong
Which is
season.
weird because I went to a wedding 2 weeks ago and we were in a grocery store and I was looking for grapes and all the grapes said that they were imported from Mexico. And I'm like, we live in California. Like literally we live in the Central Valley. They grow
Why don't we have
Is it
grapes
just
here?
why
vineyard
can't
country?
I buy grapes
Because they're using them
from
all for wine.
right? But I mean, I thought that was berserk that everything in the vegetable aisle was being imported in from Mexico, and we're
Well,
the most fertile state in the world.
I heard if it has a sticker on it, don't buy it. It means it's typically brought in if it has it's a certain sticker. What I don't want to say it wrong, like UPC or CPU sticker or something, but it means that it was basically bought from a regular store. It was not like farmer's market or anything local. It was bought from
I wonder what food tastes like
cost
that doesn't
less.
have chemicals in it. Like
Good
what
question.
a real grape tasted like when we were kids.
What about the food that they're buying and then they're like rubbing it with water and the skin color is coming off like they were painted? Did you see that? Watermelons? It's like a big deal right now. Your brother is the one that brought it to me. He's like, "What the heck is going on?" They're doing all this stuff and it's like they've been painted and it's just rubbing off. Or bananas,
I
they're
live in a
peeling them and breaking them and
yeah.
they're like rubber.
I live in a farming community,
Yeah, you
and my
do.
son has worked at several of the packing sheds, and so
How you said packing sheds?
packing
I said, what's that now?
packing sheds.
sheds.
Oh, sheds. got it.
And I do want to say that when they bring the trucks in, it goes through a spray, and the spray stops them from ripening. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, that's incredible.
Crazy. So we have a guest that we're going to
We
get on here in a
do.
second. And she's going to tell us all about the Mediterranean diet.
Yeah.
And
I'm
she's a
super
restaurant
excited about
owner. So give us a
Yeah.
little info about her before we get her on the line, Andy.
So her name is Ishtar, and the restaurant is Papacino's in Modesto. It's a Mediterranean restaurant, and we went in there for lunch yesterday, and we just got to talking with the owner. She's been the owner for about 22 years.
Wow.
Actually, the restaurant's been open for 28 years, she said, but she's been there. She's been there for 22 years. We got to talking about why they cook the way they do and why they eat the way they do, and she was just such an advocate for it not just being the food, but it being seasonal and the way that they live their lives and the less stress and that type of thing. And so I just was over the moon about telling you about her. So I can't wait to get her on the phone
Yeah,
right
I can't
now.
wait. We enjoyed her food today in our breaking bread ceremony that we do every week before podcast, and it was excellent. It was fabulous.
So good
Mhm.
for you
Yeah,
too.
her hummus is really good.
Wasn't it? I'm
Really
not even
good.
a fan of hummus, so I was not excited about it. And
What are the
that
little
was,
balls? The little
what
like
are the-
Falafel.
Is it
Oh, Wow, that
falafel?
is so
Yeah.
good.
It's so
Yeah.
good, right? And so
amazing.
we
Falafel.
don't know a lot about this, but we're learning about it. And honestly, she'll even talk about the herbs and stuff and how
Right.
important it is that the herbs are added in and what it does for our health and things like that.
Right.
She's just,
I can't
really
wait to
well.
talk to her.
Me either. Okay, I'm giving her a call. Let's see if we can get her on the phone.
Hello.
Hello, Ishtar. This is Andy with Rooted Warriors. I told you we would give you a call today. I'm so excited to talk to you. How are you?
Good, good, Andy. How are you?
Oh, we're doing so good. I'm so excited for
Good.
you to give us your take. I know that you've been with Papacino's for 22 years. Do you own Papacino's?
I don't own Papacino's. No, I just run it.
So you've been there for 22 years total. And
Yeah, off and on, but yes, 22 years.
that's insane. So what do you think? What about Mediterranean food? How do you think it really contributes to the longevity of
Uh,
life and such?
For sure the olive oil, for sure like the digestive herbs that are served at the table, the parsley, the mint, the onions, the cilantro, for sure that digestion helps, I think, with longevity for sure.
Right, right. And you were talking something about how they eat seasonally in the Mediterranean.
Yeah, I mean, I think just in general, I think our ancestors probably ate more seasonally because they didn't have foods readily available in a grocery store. I mean, I'm sure if you even go back into your ancestors, they
Right,
ate what was on the farm. They ate what they could grow, or what animals were ready to be butchered at that point.
Yeah.
right. And nothing was processed or held on a shelf
Yeah,
or anything like that.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
well, you were talking about digestive foods and what about fermented foods and things like that?
Yeah, so with fermented foods in the Mediterranean diet, there's a lot of like, the olives are still fermented. We do a lot of torshi, which is like a pickle. We do the Jerusalem artichokes,
Yeah.
we do the cauliflower, fermented garlic. That's like, and fermenting garlic's already good for you. And so you're fermenting garlic, you're kicking it up a notch for
That
Yeah,
sure.
sounds delicious,
absolutely.
right?
You
Yeah,
can't go wrong. This is
yeah.
Mighty
And
Mo Ishtar. Thank you so much for joining us.
hi, yes.
So, as we all know, olive oil is great for us in so many ways. And one of the biggest things that it's great for is for our brains.
Yeah.
How many ways do you guys incorporate, in what ways do you incorporate olive oil into your daily diet?
I mean, I also think olive oil is usually used as a cure-all too,
Yeah.
A baby's firstborn, they get covered in olive oil and massage, so all of their
Wow.
faces, their ears, if their ears are a little bit forward, you can kind of pin them back with a good massage and a little bit of olive oil.
Yeah.
Wow.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
also, what about connection with the way you eat with your family and versus just, quickly eating at the counter or on the fly?
Yeah, I think that's probably the most important thing of it all, right? Like, the prayer over the food, the joining of together to ask how everybody's day has gone. Um, even if you aren't talking, even if you're just sitting together, I mean, food is meant to be shared. And love is meant to totally be, spread over that food when you're eating it.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
love that. That's so great. Do
Absolutely.
you have anything that you would like? Say you have a lot of patrons that come into your restaurant and you wish that you could get something across to them. Maybe the fact that you don't use enriched flours or that possibly has something to do with it, the way that we process our food and such. Um, do you have any advice that you would give any of your clients that come in or why they should maybe consider a Mediterranean diet?
I don't really have something I can say about that, but I know a lot of the time, like I have customers that have been coming in here for years, and they come in and they're like, "Oh, I have a little cold," and so then I make them an oregano tea that I make, from just fresh oregano leaves and honey and lemon, and I think that's what we infuse into our food. I think that special touch and that love, and then those people go home and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I made myself oregano tea the last time I was sick because I remembered how good it made me feel when I came in and you made it for me."
Oh, that's so awesome. So it wasn't just made for you, but it was made with love, and that was a lot of it. It had to do with where
Yeah,
it came
for sure. I
from.
mean, not to mention oregano is great for antibacterial and all that stuff as well. So
Right, you hear a lot about
and
it.
that's a lot of our foods cooked with oregano as well too.
We hear a lot about oregano oil and it being really great for the body and things like that. So I super
Yeah.
appreciate that. But like, yeah, no, we're so excited about having you on here. Your food was amazing. By the way, we were just talking about
Oh,
how much we
thank
enjoyed
you.
what you put together for us.
Excellent. It was
Oh,
so good.
yeah. Thank you so much.
Well, we adore you and thank you for being on our show. And, more than anything, I really, truly love what you bring to the community and the truth. And you and I talked about not only just family, but, maybe being more natural with the way that we raise our children and things like that.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really neat. And so, anybody out
Yeah.
there
Always.
listening, go ahead.
It's always good to meet like-minded people that are on that same wavelength as you. But no meeting is ever a coincidence for sure.
Agreed. Everything is
Yeah.
is definitely part of the plan for sure. Well, if
Yeah.
you're out there,
Yeah.
stop by Papacino's Mediterranean restaurant. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's my new favorite place. I've already been spreading it around to everybody. Those who don't know, because it's been there for so long, most everybody knows. But It was fantastic. Thank you, Ishtar. You were amazing.
Yes. Thank you, Ishtar.
Thanks, Andy. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Looking
you.
forward to listening to the podcast.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I'll send it to you as soon as it's finished. We adore you to pieces.
Yeah.
Be blessed.
For sure.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye.
Okay.
I mean, so how blessed are we to have a guest like that?
Yeah. It's
Seriously.
great.
She's so busy. I was so surprised that she even answered the phone. I know that she was willing to come on here and she loves to spread truth and things like that. She's a wonderful spirit, but I also know how busy she is. So I was worried being that we were late that she wasn't going to answer. So I'm so glad that she was able to participate.
I love the part where she talked about, eating being more about the community, about family,
Yeah.
about connecting, praying over the food,
Ritualistic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do love that.
And I like the idea of creating daily and weekly rituals and slowing down our lives so that we can
Mhm.
actually enjoy our life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like savor your food.
Chew it. I have such a problem with not
Seriously?
chewing my food.
You don't even know it until you try to chew your food, and then you're like, "Wow, I don't chew my food."
My jaw kind of hurts now.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is this?
Or you just like stuff it in your mouth and you're like, wow, swallowed that one whole.
Yeah, right. Felt that go down. So it's so funny because it says avoid eating while distracted is what I saw. That's like a thing. They said you shouldn't be distracted by your phone or anything else. It should just be really about the meal and who you're with at that moment. Don't
Yes.
eat distracted. It's like if you're going to be distracted, then take a moment and then come back to the food.
Yeah, absolutely.
So while we were at the Mediterranean place, Greg goes, I don't want to talk about that. I'm trying to enjoy a good meal. But I was cracking up and I was like, oh, it was after Ishtar came to our table. I was
Right.
like, oh, are you trying not to talk about anything negative while you eat? He's, I'm trying to be present while I eat. It was hilarious. I was like,
That's
oh,
great.
so we're going to use that now. All
No,
right.
When
then.
he wants you to be quiet, he says, I want to be present.
Yeah, I just want to be present while I eat. Oh, okay. All right. I'll stop talking.
I would like to be mindful, Andy.
Right. I'm trying to be mindful of my food. Thank you.
So, what are some things, ladies, that we can do so that we can start correlating this whole La Doce Vida into our life?
Right? I don't know, Miss Gina. What do you think? Like, what do you think was like the most important couple things that were said that you're like, this is what makes the difference? This is the root.
I think, and I've said this before on here, I'm sure, the biggest impact in my 49 years was the day that my mom died. And through hospice, we kept her at home so that she could pass, in her home and a familiar place and not in a hospital bed in a hospital. And when she passed in our living room, and the living room was lined with her grandchildren and her children and her loved ones. And we all were honored enough to be there for that moment. And
Well, she was flanked by you and your brother. And I can't think of a more beautiful place to be as a mom when you're leaving than have your babies.
but it's like in the end, in all of it, and she died at 66 years old. So 66 years. And then in the end, that's what she had. She didn't have things that she was taking with her. She didn't have any of the hustle and all the stress that had incurred throughout her whole life.
Right.
She had
Who was she reaching for?
these people
Yeah.
and this love. And I think that it's so important. I can't say it enough, to touch people, to change people, to
Say you love them.
impact people,
Yeah.
and to slow it down, because in the end, building empires and things that we think are important, and maybe they are at the moment, but in the end, I think that it's love.
It's not what you're reaching for.
Yeah, it's the love that we build throughout our lifetime, and the people that we change, and the people that we impact, that matters,
Agreed.
and what we can pass down.
That's such
Yeah.
a pretty
I
way to
don't-
say it.
I don't want to be. I watched this TikTok
Imagine
On-
that. Us
yeah.
watching TikToks. I'm just kidding.
3 generations from now, nobody will know my name anymore.
I saw that one. You're like, what?
What?
You had to think about it for a second. Wait a minute.
Do you mean my great grandchildren won't have a beautiful mural of me?
What's going
Won't
on
be
here?
hanging on their wall.
Yeah,
They really
right?
won't even know your
So
name.
what do you leave behind? Right?
Well, what's your
Will
legacy?
Gigi's daughter know me? Know of me? Will I have made such an impact on my granddaughter that she will tell stories to her daughter?
I bet she goes, my Nana, except her version.
You know
which
what I
is
mean?
Mima.
Like that is what we're here for.
Right.
But here in this country, we are programmed to run a rat race
And
And
that's the
not-
legacy.
to stop and not to breathe and not to curate.
And sometimes
life.
when people have that family life, they disregard it.
Yeah.
Well, they don't realize.
They don't realize how great and how important it is to have all of that wisdom around you.
And some people have had it and then had it taken away.
I've watched a TikTok of this. They were interviewing a
It's her new drink thing. We're gonna be like, drink.
95 drinking TikTok, like a 95-year-old like billionaire or something like that, and it was like in the end, his lesson in life, he had $1 billion and not one person in his life to share it with.
So he ends up donating it all or giving it away. I've heard of movies like that.
Yeah, no.
But can you imagine
a
being
TikTok.
so alone? You have never loved on someone so hard that they remembered you when you were passing away to where you could leave them your fortune. I mean, you don't
Right.
even have someone to take your fortune. Most everybody is willing to take your fortune. But
Right.
I mean, how isolated do you really have to be or, to have that happen? I know that there was a study done. It was a questionnaire filled out by 110,799 people, actually, aged between 40 and 75. And the participants were scored according to whether or not they followed a Mediterranean style, like how they ate, such as limiting salt and drinking healthy beverages, as well as their social habits and like how much they exercise and rested. And then they tested after 9 years. And 9 years later, 4,247 of the participants had died of the 110 plus thousand. And 2,401 of them were from cancer and 731 from cardiovascular disease. And the researchers found that those who followed the Mediterranean lifestyle most closely, and particularly the third category, had the lowest risk of death.
Yeah.
They had out of all of them, it was eating regular and doing all these things. It was the people that had the Mediterranean lifestyle literally scored the lowest as far as death is concerned.
Yeah, it makes sense. Plus, I mean, honestly, I don't care how long I live. I care about the quality of the life that I live.
And if you're
So
stressing the whole
I feel
time,
like so often we're all focused on living until we're 90 or 100 or whatever. If I die tomorrow, as long as I've had a good, healthy, happy life and I've shared something and I have a legacy left behind, I don't care how long I'm on this earth.
the impact matters.
It matters.
Because, we are going up, right? We're
Yeah.
hoping. And eventually he's going to be like, hey,
Right. I'm not hoping. I know.
how did you show that light about me
Yeah.
through you kind of thing? I don't know. I think that's like perfectly said.
So other things, and I know when I think of Italy, I only think of food, but
You think of wine. You think of wine.
Yeah, of wine,
Stomping grapes
food
like
and
Lucy.
food and drink,
Think
right?
of ocean.
But also, like, I think there's something to be said about the oh my god, what would you call it? I think like art, the architect
culture.
there,
the architecture. Yeah,
architecture.
you're right.
Just I think for me,
Is it not gorgeous? The Mediterranean style.
what does that not like? What can you complain about? I
amazing.
woke up in Italy this morning. Come
I
on,
literally
right?
went
You know
on
what I mean?
TikTok and like looked up Mediterranean
Mhm.
decorating because
Yeah.
I love their style.
Right.
Right.
So is that part of it? The
Yeah.
aesthetics?
I mean, I think part of this whole lifestyle is visiting galleries, listening to music, engaging in other forms of art, and
Yeah.
appreciating how creative human expression is.
Their fashion. I mean, they're known for their
Everything.
fashion,
I
their
mean, come on.
festivals, traditions, their music, their opera.
That's
Not just like the
crazy.
aesthetics of it all, right? The
No, they're
just the
very
beauty.
passionate people.
Yes.
Super passionate.
But they're super present. So they're
Yeah.
in the moment. They're like
Yeah.
passionate about the moment and
Yeah.
things like that. Like, that's
And I
the
love
coolest
how
thing.
they, like, when they greet each other, Greeks are like this too, where they kiss each other on the cheek.
I know.
I love that. Like, what
Italians,
is this? This
and
is
they
so
kiss each
awesome.
other.
I love it.
That's so sexy.
It is.
I
I'm
don't
like,
care
kiss me on the
who's
cheek.
doing it.
Kiss me on the
We keep
cheek.
threatening we're going to start doing it.
I'm gonna do it.
The
I'm not
rooted
kidding.
warriors now kiss each cheek. We'll
Yep.
kiss you every single time we see you. Watch out.
People are going to be like, what the heck's wrong with these
I know.
women?
They're like, stop.
But, they also practice gratitude, which was something that we talked about
Mhm.
last week. And we talked about how to do that. And if you haven't listened to that episode, I encourage you guys to subscribe to us and go back and listen to that podcast, because that one was
For
so
sure.
spot on.
I think if I sat through my day and talked about all the things I have to be grateful for, there's no room for me to be negative or to complain,
100%.
right?
I mean, how do you? Like, how do you base negativity off positivity? You can't
Right.
find
Yeah.
it. It's
I mean,
impossible.
some people naturally draw to the negative of everything, right?
Right.
But I would encourage them to, like, maybe you just say one positive thing every day or one thing that you're grateful for, and then go from there. And the next day, you challenge yourself to like 5 things. Like, how many things am I grateful for? I can go on and on. I'm grateful first thing in the morning when I wake up because, I've got air in my lungs. And there's a lot of people who didn't have the opportunity to wake up this morning.
Another chance to spread light. They
Yeah,
didn't get that.
100%.
So what about our little jars that we were talking about?
Yeah, I thought that we're gonna do those together, right?
So I
we
think
talked
we
about
should
it.
make them.
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely. Not even a question.
Yeah. So then here's the thing is maybe over the next week or so, we could challenge each other to go out. Maybe it's to antique stores or something like that and
Get a jar.
find a jar, but not a jar for you, just a jar,
Okay.
right? Just something unique. Of course, we talked about this last week, something that you absolutely love or
Okay.
don't buy it, right? Don't buy a big mason jar. Something that you is calling to you, right? So this is something that we're holding close and dear to our hearts, right?
I love that.
And then maybe our listeners will go out and find a jar
I
and
like
make
that.
gratitude jars with us, right? And they could take pictures and send them in.
Oh, I
and
love that.
and we'll take pictures of our gratitude jars.
Yeah.
And we'll take pictures like along the way, us filling them up.
Right.
love
and
it.
so explain what it is that we're doing with these gratitude jars. Like, what are they for? We're every day going to put the things on each little slip of paper that we are grateful for.
Yeah.
I think minimal is like if you kept the little tiny and for me, like I get excited about like beautiful things, right? So if there
Mhm.
was next to my bed a really pretty pen and some beautiful little paper that I can draw on, I'm gonna do it just because
Seriously.
it strikes me to do it. I think that every morning just waking up and being grateful for something is
I think it's a good way to start your day.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, us really trying to spend a certain amount of time each day doing nothing. The Italians take that kind of siesta time at lunchtime
Mm.
and they're off for 3 hours. I think that we need to figure out an appropriate time for us as individuals that we're going to just zone out and do nothing.
Yeah, you don't have to necessarily sleep, but just like really rest your brain or rest your body and really take a moment to heal, right?
Exactly.
And process maybe what you went through that day.
Right. And, go outside and look at the flowers and the trees and, literally smell the roses.
That is such a great point. You know what? I came across this thing. It's called thalassotherapy. Have you ever heard of it? I figured you have heard of it.
Sounds great.
Thalassotherapy.
Thalassotherapy. And it's basically like ocean healing. It's cultures that use the ocean for healing naturally, and Mediterranean is one of them. So they use seawater, and we all know like that it can bring the magnesium into the largest organ of our body, which is our skin, but it also has potassium and iodine, and it's improves circulation and hydrates the skin. But it's basically just using the ocean or natural things around us, really, if we could do that with anything. But this one has to do with using the sea as a way of healing, and they're using it for everything, like anti-aging through marine mud and clay and stuff. So
Wow.
whether you eat seaweed and that kind of thing, but thalassotherapy
I like
is
that.
the active ocean healing. I'm all
I
about
love
that.
that.
I like
right?
that a lot.
Yeah.
So what are you doing this weekend? Oh, a little thalassotherapy. Nothing much. Anyway, this has been great. I love this episode.
Well,
When are we going to Italy?
yeah, I'm ready to go. Let's go.
Like tomorrow?
I have a passport again.
Seriously,
Just
I
saying.
don't, so I won't be going to Italy, but you can, I guess. We need to get on that.
Yeah, you do. It was so easy. Go get a passport.
It was that easy. I thought
It was
that was
so
like a big
easy.
process.
I thought it was going to be a big process too. Nothing. Namare. It was.
Namare.
It was perfect.
Love it.
Yes.
We have to do that.
Easy.
We're going to be doing a lot of traveling. We'll be sharing it with you all.
We can't wait. We have a lot of cool
Seriously.
things planned.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, and thanks.
Like video.
Oh yeah, that's coming out next week. I believe we're doing
We'll
the
be
video,
shaking our money makers.
and
Yeah,
we're gonna go out
what?
to a bee atrium. Is that right?
We're thinking about
Or-
going to an apiary. I don't.
Apiary,
If
that's what
we
it is.
can get in, then yes. But anybody knows anyone? Let us.
Hit us up.
I know, right?
We're also wanting to go to an organic winery. We're definitely going to go to Edgewood. We've already talked about that.
Mm.
We're going to be booking that out. That's going to be great.
Right? Me and
Yeah.
my untalented little butt coming with you.
That's all right. That's all
Hey,
right. We're going to have fun.
I got it.
So
We're gonna
much
have
fun to be had, and so many memories, and yeah.
Adventures. Are they going to think we're weird if we take off our shoes and walk on grass and
No,
like
'cause we're
ground?
grounding.
Exactly. Duh.
We're
right?
Well,
You
we've
know-
had this episode.
Yeah. Jeremiah
Have you not
sent me some stuff. here.
Jeremiah.
Yes.
It was so good seeing
Jeremiah's
you.
really into our podcast.
But he's listening.
Every
Yay.
episode he's
He
listened
knows
to.
about grounding.
He knows all about it, and he told me how he put it to practice the other day.
Get out.
And that he felt a little weird out there because he felt like people were staring at him, but
It's
he
a
was
social
out there
thing.
doing it. But he said he really liked it. He enjoyed it.
Look at him getting all natural.
Yes,
and everything. I
he gets-
love it.
to the
He's
earth.
totally
He's
into it.
connecting to the earth.
He's very much connecting. He sent me some stuff on Italy because he was really into us doing this particular podcast.
I want to go so bad. You guys would be such good. Haven't you been?
I have not been to Italy.
I thought you knew a lot about it.
I
or
do
something.
know a fair amount about it, but I have not been to Italy. He talked about how we cannot talk about Italy and not talk about coffee.
Seriously.
And how coffee and Italy are inseparable elements, and that this drink offers it's like a real cult, just like tea is for Asia.
Right. And it's for a connection thing. I kept reading about that because it's not just the caffeine. It has to do with the ritual surrounding it.
And then he said the Italian,
it's important.
yeah, he said that the Italian barista is the true expert. And they're respected and appreciated by Italians. If you're a coffee lover, you can expect the following to happen in Italy. So this is the top 10 benefits of espresso.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
Right up my
listen
alley.
up, wandering
So
fox.
number one, it strengthens long-term memory.
Caffeine does? Or
Espresso.
Espresso does.
Mhm.
Okay, espresso does.
2, it improves concentration.
I'm using all of this.
It's a high antioxidant,
Yeah.
and it boosts physical activity. It's low in calories. It lowers the risk of stroke. It aids in weight loss.
Because it suppresses your appetite.
It improves digestion. It reduces your chance of diabetes. And what I think is the most important, it improves your mood. So when people's moms would say, "Hey, don't talk to me until I had my first cup of coffee,"
They weren't lying.
she was not lying. She was not happy.
She was
Who knows
speaking
the story
truth.
behind coffee?
Tell me.
Tell us.
Okay, so I believe it was somewhere in the Middle East, maybe Ethiopia-ish, somewhere along that line. And I believe it was like a goat farmer. And he would walk his goats along this path all the time. And they would get to this like bush-ish thing.
Right.
And he would take a nap there. And he
Siesta.
would wake up, and these goats were going like batshit crazy, like dun, 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 all over the place, and he couldn't figure
What's
it
the
out.
dun-dun-dun? Were they jumping
Like,
around and
bing,
stuff?
bing, bing, bing,
I
bing.
know. they're making noises now.
They were getting down. You know what I'm talking about? I wasn't sure.
Playing their banjos.
Yes, they were doing all kinds of crazy things. And he's
They
like,
weren't expecting this creep to be laying in there.
Oh, weirdo.
This is their go time.
Weirdo alert.
and he's like, what is going on with these goats, right? So he goes over to the bush and he sees all the like the shell that the bean comes in, right? All over the
They were
ground.
whacked out on caffeine.
They were. And then he would gather them up and brought them to his village. And that's when they started like roasting them and figured it all
It
out.
became an art after that, really.
From goats, I
That's
think.
insane.
From
You know, we were
goats.
talking about the Mediterranean lifestyle and then whether or not the Middle East had something to do with that, but we know that it does. Did you know that olive oil actually came from them? I mean, someone out there correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I read today was that olive oil
Came from the
actually
goats?
came from the goats. Just joking.
Okay, what?
You know what?
I was like falling for it.
We're
I was like,
crossing
"What?"
stories. No, it came from the Middle East. They actually are the ones that invented olive oil. And so that whole Mediterranean, Italian, we put olive oil on everything. It came from the Middle East.
Oh, look at that. I did
I
not
know.
that.
Shout out.
Did
Anyway.
not know. Shouty.
Okay.
So Gina, do you know a few words in Italian for us?
Just a couple.
Just a
Okay,
couple.
what do you got?
Just what Amazon told me.
Amazon?
What is my girl
Well,
called?
she's from
Alexa.
Italy. And
Alexa.
learned
Just
cooking.
Alexa, you have 5 minutes to teach me some Italian. She said, ciao, bella.
Ciao, Bella.
Ciao, bella. Let's see. Grazie mille.
What about the first one you said, though? The dolce.
Oh, la dolce vita.
Yeah.
My sweet life.
My sweet life. That's a good one.
Right.
I like that one.
Wow. And
Yeah.
then ciao means hello, goodbye,
Goodbye.
good morning.
Yeah. I think it's a term of
Like for
endearment.
everything.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Wow, I like it.
And
like-
then by beautiful, right? Just adding Bella in there because that means beautiful.
Oh,
I like
Yeah.
it.
me too.
Or yeah.
I heard
so-
the concept of il dolce far niente means the sweetness of doing nothing.
That is something I want to. By the way, I gotta plug this. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So Gina and I had went a few weeks ago to the local yoga place,
Okay.
and we went into their salt room, and they had they had these chairs. They're called moon pods.
Yeah.
And you know, when I first looked, I'm like, man, that's on the ground, and that's pretty low.
It's pretty far
And
down
you're
there.
asking me to
And you know,
fall
I was
down
being
there.
like typical, you know, Mo, and being like, oh God, I have to go down.
She's like this. Why is she taking me to a freaking salt room?
This is unbelievable. So,
Yeah.
anyways, we ended up sitting in there for hours, and it was the most comfortable chair.
Mhm.
So it took me a little while, but I was like, you know, I'm gonna buy this chair. I don't care. Like, I kept resisting being Mo and buying it immediately. I don't know why, because I ended up buying it anyways. But I bought it, and I absolutely love my moon pod.
So it's a salt chair?
No,
No.
it's a bean
It's a
bag,
bean bag.
basically.
Oh,
But
it's
it's
what you were sitting on in
Yes,
the
it
salt
was
room.
amazing. So I conned Bob into sitting in it, and he loved it. Then Hannah came over yesterday, and I didn't say anything about it. She just plopped her little self down in my chair, and she's like, "What is this?" I'm like, "Oh, moon
My
pod,
new cocoon.
Mopod."
Yeah, Mopod.
Mopod.
And she's like,
Mopod.
"This is amazing." Then my son-in-law sat in it, and he couldn't believe how comfortable it is.
Mm.
And I fell asleep in it last night. It's fabulous. It's like the best thing.
You fell asleep in it.
Yeah.
It was that comfortable.
It's so comfy. Anyway, so I don't know why I had to like bring it up, but I needed to plug it.
That's great. I love that you bought one.
Yeah, it's so great. I
Seriously.
highly recommend.
because
I
it went
thought about
along with-
buying a salt room.
I mean, why not?
While we're at it, we might as well.
Why we're on it.
Well, because I was talking about, what was I talking about? The sweetness of
life of
doing
doing
nothing.
nothing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's what got us on it.
Yeah.
So, like, I
Moon
like,
pod.
yeah.
Doing
so,
nothing
so last
on the
night,
moon.
yeah. So I sat on it last night. I was gonna read, and then I was like, I don't feel like reading, and so I just sat there, and then I eventually fell asleep. But I was happy as a lark. So I like doing nothing on my moon pod.
There you
Oh,
go.
nice.
Love it. Well, that's her version of it right there.
Mhm.
As we wrap up this episode of Rooted Warriors, diving into the beauty of the Mediterranean lifestyle, I hope you found inspiration to slow down, savor the moment, and embrace the art of mindful living. By adopting the Mediterranean approach, we can bring a sense of balance and joy into our daily lives, whether it's through savoring a home-cooked meal, taking a leisurely stroll outside, or simply pausing to breathe deeply and rest. These small practices can have a profound impact on our well-being.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Rooted Warriors. Today, we explored the vibrant and enriching Italian way of life. We dived into how their culture emphasizes enjoying life, fostering strong social connections, and embracing in a healthy lifestyle. all of which contributes to living a longer, more fulfilling life. As we wrap up, remember, podcast family, to rip a page from the Italian playbook. Savor your meals, cherish your relationships, find joy in even the little moments. Incorporating these principles can help us all live richer, healthier lives. And until next time, this is Mighty Mo signing off. Feel blessed, be blessed. Arrivederci.